Hey, bienvenidos a Vox Terra. Welcome back. So today I'm going to share with you a shocking story that should be headline news and isn't, and it says a lot that it's not. And because it's so shocking, and it's going to be so hard for you to believe if you don't already know me, and if you haven't been watching my show for a while, like how could this Vox Terra, know all this when no one else is barely talking about it? I'm going to cite you from these sources, and I'll put the links below the video, but here, I'll tell you some of them. National Lawyers Guild, Amnesty International, Amazon Watch, Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting, Democracy Now!, Esquire, The Daily Show, and also Reuters, which is criticized by fairness and accuracy in reporting. And as I go through this story with you, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to say this to protect Vox Terra here, this is my opinion. This is based on what I've read and how I interpret these articles. And I'm saying that because there's an attorney in the United States, which we barely heard about in our news, by the name of Steven Donziger. And Steven Donziger has been under house arrest for going on 600 days now, due to his involvement, his alleged contempt of court. And I'll get to why these articles make that look so laughable, but due to his alleged contempt of court over his lawsuit against Chevron. So to put this in a nutshell, here's what happened. Chevron bought Texaco, or they merged with Texaco. Going back to a period from like the 1960s all the way up to 1990, I believe, Texaco was allegedly involved in just polluting the heck out of a region in Ecuador about the size of Rhode Island. And this I can also cite you to Vice News, which has a documentary titled something like the worst oil disaster you never heard of, right? So this oil disaster, went on from the 60s all the way up to 1990, and we Americans never really heard about it. We didn't learn about it in school. And if you can remember good old President Ronald Reagan, he wasn't talking about it, what Texaco, is claimed to have done in Ecuador. So this contamination of Ecuador, according to fairness and accuracy in reporting, was facilitated initially by the CIA. And that they're citing to an author and a former CIA agent named Philip Agee. And now it sounds like conspiracy stuff. Look, it's not, okay? This is already in your notes. Philip Agee wrote a book called The Company Men, I guess in 1975, something like that. So they're claiming that the CIA put in place a president in Ecuador who would facilitate, Texaco being able to operate with impunity there. And so what happened, and this is no secret, that this major area of the Amazon is completely contaminated now. So the contamination included the digging of it's like 900 something, according to Amazon Watch, 900 something open pits to store, drilling fluid and other toxic chemicals in. This stuff was then, siphoned into the rivers. And again, this is how I'm remembering these articles. I'm going to cite them all for you. Would be drained into the rivers. You had billions of gallons of toxic waste just dumped into the rivers directly. You had venting into the air, and now that region where those indigenous used to live, in peace apparently, is really contaminated. You got high rates of cancer there, high rates of childhood cancer, birth defects, miscarriages, okay, all high rates of this stuff now. So when you think about that 60s to 1990, in the CIA, well, we'd be told, hey, this is anti-communism, we're standing up to communists, right? Well, a lot of that anti-communism, I now believe, it wasn't principled. It's really providing cover for these kind of activities. So if you look at a lot of those communist revolutions, well, it was often the indigenous who were getting shafted like this. But it's not just them getting shafted, it's our whole planet, isn't it? So now, according to Amazon Watch also, Chevron, involved in these lawsuits here, hired their own scientific consultants, right? And these scientific consultants then have ties to industry. One of them had ties to lobbying in Texas on behalf of the chemical industry. Also connected amazingly to Karl Rove. Another's got ties to think tanks that put out ideas denying global warming or the fossil fuel contribution to global warming. So you got all that going on. And then So what happens, this guy, Steven Donziger, he was a young attorney initially, and I think it was in the early 1990s he filed his initial lawsuit, initially against Texaco, before they merged with Chevron. And then Chevron fought really hard, according to these articles, to keep that case in Ecuador. You know, the thinking being, they're thinking they're going to get a better deal from what we often call banana republic, without realizing it's our government, it's our business interests that created these banana republics. So they're thinking they're going to get a better deal, you know, from this banana republic there. But it turns out they didn't, because the political situation there changed. They elected a president who later in 2006, who wasn't so sympathetic to the multinational corporations. They found against Chevron, hit him with a multi-billion-dollar, you know, judgment, and most of that money goes towards, you know, cleaning up the area and dealing with the health conditions and these cancers and that for these natives who got shafted. And again, we're all getting shafted here. But according Chevron chose to fight the case, and they came back to the United States. They got a judge by the name of Kaplan. And again, you know, my opinion based on what I'm reading, okay, they got a judge by the name of Kaplan to you know, he found for Chevron, based largely, according to these articles, on the testimony of a particular judge in Ecuador who claimed there was a bribe. Well, that judge got a lot of money from Chevron, was relocated to America, and later recanted parts of his testimony about that bribe. So the judge then also hit Kaplan, or not Kaplan, the judge also hit Donziger with you know, claiming he owed Chevron a bunch of money over this lawsuit. Apparently Chevron dropped their money claims against Donziger, because that way Donziger wouldn't get a jury trial, so they could just keep it with this judge who looks pretty sympathetic to them. And the judge also hit Donziger with a contempt of court, because Donziger, you know, apparently went through a lot of discovery and did turn over a lot of documents, but he didn't want to turn over, it was a cell phone, I believe, and a computer, which contains, you know, confidential client information, as attorneys don't want to do. So Donziger, you know, filed to appeal that. And this Judge Kaplan, instead of waiting for the appeal, then said, no, you're in contempt of court. And then according to these articles, you know, he took the contempt charges to the regular prosecutor, the government prosecutor. The government prosecutor decided not to prosecute it. So the judge appointed a private firm to prosecute it. The private firm's got ties to the oil and gas industry. And then, according to these articles, Judge Kaplan also, you know, stepped outside of the normal means of picking the judge to hear his contempt case, and appointed somebody, or picked somebody who she's tied to what's called the Federalist Society, and the Federalist Society also gets funding from Chevron. So you see this total circle, right? Okay, of involvement in our government, in our media, you know, in our covert operations. You know, the paying of false science, so everybody's really confused, and then they're wrapping it all in fake patriotism, saying, hey, we're standing up to socialists. But you got to realize that a lot of this anti-socialism, anti-communism stuff, it's really for that purpose, to cover these reckless elements of the business community. So I hope you found this story about Steve Donziger helpful. And remember, this is based on what I've read, but I'm going to provide you plenty of citations beneath the YouTube channel. So, you know, please support this channel by subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing the videos. Let's build the channel up. Click the notification bell so you know I'm putting up a new video. And until next time, peace be with you.